Hello and welcome to another episode of eScoot Talks. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Xiaomi electric scooter 4 Pro Max that I'm going to bring here, and also I'm going to be showing some images there, but I'll be looking here because here's my screen where I'm going to go through some details about the scooter. So we were talking about Xiaomi 4 Pro Plus just a couple of weeks ago, and I knew that Xiaomi is bringing some more scooters, and we actually have two more scooters that I'll be making video about, and that's probably going to be released in a couple of days. So what do we have? So we have a small format Xiaomi electric scooter that has a front suspension. First of all, that's the first thing that we can see looking at the pictures. So yeah, front suspension, and this type of front suspension you don't use with the front motor drive. We've seen that problem on InMotion L9 that came actually with exactly same type of the front suspension, but also had the motor. The torque motor is actually trying to bend that suspension all the time, and lots of those scooters had actually a problem with the front suspension not working properly or being jammed or whatever. But it's a nice addition. Unfortunately, there is no rear suspension here, so that's a bit of a downside. When it comes to range, claimed range is 60 kilometers. That's pretty nice. So real life, we are expecting something around 30 kilometers per charge. When it comes to charging, so this scooter is going to support fast charging as well, so you'll be able to recharge it in only 3 hours. When it comes to a battery, of course, Xiaomi standard, all batteries have a smart BMS, absolutely brilliant thing. Now, yeah, as I did assumed, we have a rear motor drive, brushless motor. Obviously, there was a version of actually Navi S65 that had actually geared motor, and when they released Xiaomi 4 Ultra, that's actually technically almost the same scooter. I was afraid that it's going to be geared motor. Some people didn't like it. I don't mind it. It sounds like a RC car, but like at least people can hear you well. Pedestrians that don't wear headphones can hear you. Now we have 960 watt motor with a max speed of 25 kilometers per hour and 22% max incline. 3 driving mode: pedestrian, like 5-6 kilometers per hour, standard drive mode, that's up to 20 kilometers, and sport mode, that's up to 25 kilometers per hour. Now we have also 10-inch run flat tires, but actually luckily on this image we can actually see that now the rim size, the wheel size is actually 7 inches. So that's, and they're of course using CST tires. Now that's going to be a little bit kind of a tricky, because there's not going to be that many of varieties of tires, so you won't be able to play around too much. But run flat tires did came up on the market at some stage with Ninebot. I never tried them myself. I never managed to get my hands on them, but with now Xiaomi releasing scooter with those tires, hopefully I'll get my hands on them at some stage, try them out, and be able to share with you how good they are. Run flat is a little bit tricky. Some people could think, well, if I get the flat, I can still ride. Yes, for a little while, not for 2 months. Now we're coming to the handlebars and display and everything. So the scooter comes with indicators. In handlebars, we saw that on Ninebot models. It has a brake lever and bell and a folding hook all in one. We saw that on some Ninebot. scooters, and it has a nice dashboard with lots of info on it. Uh, I already said in my other Xiaomi 4 Pro Ultra Plus, I don't like Xiaomi's naming lately is just going crazy. I don't think they need to put such complicated names. But yeah, it has on the dashboard small icons for indicators. I don't think there's any need for that, but like most of the lately released Xiaomi's, it has a tire pressure check indicator, a small icon that you set up in an app how often you want it to pop out and to remind you to check your tire pressure. It's an absolutely brilliant thing. It's a great thing. We have auto light mode, so when it's dimmed outside, the headlights automatically turn on. That's a super nice feature. It has a bigger and brighter taillight, but it also has a much thicker mudguard support. And because the rear wheel is actually motor, and all this kind of looks like it might be a little bit more difficult to replace a tire on a rear wheel. Overall, majority of people won't be able actually to replace it anyways themselves because those are tubeless tires, but hopefully I'll manage to get my hands on one of them at some stage soon, have a look and share that info with you. And of course, like all Xiaomi scooters, it's gonna have a support for Xiaomi app, where you're gonna be able to check how much range you have left and all the other details. Select the level of regenerative braking, select auto lights on and off, and lock your scooter. Now, locking your scooter, I'm also pretty curious how strong that lock actually is gonna be. When it comes to braking, it has, of course, dual braking, front drum brake and rear regenerative braking, something that we saw first on 9bot Max, and it works absolutely brilliant. And my personal opinion is that, especially for a budget scooter, absolutely perfect setup, because the front drum brake has quite lots of power, but not that much to block the front wheel, and when you're braking, you want more braking power on the front wheel than on the rear wheel, and with regenerative braking on the rear wheel, it's going to be actually easier for rear wheel maybe to block or whatever, but it's not going to be that easy to generate so much energy to fry your controller. When it comes to folding mechanism is the same like on most of Xiaomi scooters. I was expecting maybe to see something like 9bot Max G30, but this latest generation of that standard lever folding on Xiaomi is actually working pretty fine. I actually had the same folding mechanism on a 9bot that I actually made a video just a couple of days ago. There's no squeaky noises or anything like that. It works absolutely perfectly fine. And now at the end of their website, one thing that I actually really like when it comes to Xiaomi is that they give you a small print about all the testings, how they performed their testings, and how did they get those numbers. So for example, information that we are getting here, that a range of 60 kilometers was achieved of riding a fully charged vehicle with a load of 75 kilometers at 60% of the maximum speed. So cruise control at 60% of the maximum speed, not at the maximum speed. So of course, if you're riding at the maximum speed, you're gonna get less range. When it comes to 22% incline, they achieved that at 25 degrees, 60% humidity, with a load of 75 kilos at the speed of 15 kilometers per hour, and the testing distance was 10 meters. The maximum speed of 25 kilometers per hour was achieved at ambient temperature of 25 degrees with 60% humidity, again load of 75 kilos with 50% or more battery. So if your battery drops below 50%, your speed might decrease. The fast charging of 3 hours was achieved with Xiaomi fast charger, where regular charger actually takes up to 9 hours. I said already in my latest Xiaomi video, 9 hours can seem like, really long time, but actually it makes a bit of a sense to me. Because 9-hour charging time could be, let's say, used as overnight charging, really slow charging where the batteries are not going to heat up too much. And 3-hour charging can be used, of course, during the daytime. So kind of maybe their idea is actually you're probably going to get a scooter with a standard charger. Fast charger is something like just an add-on that you can get to, just get a quick boost. And then, of course, majority of people are going to use scooter during the daytime, so they can charge it overnight. I'm personally not a fan of charging overnight, but when it comes to Xiaomi, since all of their scooters have smart BMS, and I've never heard or seen of any case of Xiaomi scooters catching fire, I would actually be pretty confident to just leave it on a charge overnight, because they're not using cheap cells or BMSs or whatever. Xiaomi is quite reputable company, and when they had a problem with the folding mechanism, they did a recall, they sorted those things out. So compared to some other companies that didn't do that, but I'm not going to mention them here. But if you're watching my videos, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, well, which brand I'm talking about. Now, my conclusion about this Xiaomi. So, I would see it something like a mini 9-bot Max. Well, actually, not, something in between 9-bot Max and 9-bot Max G2. G2 has a full suspension, 9-bot Max or 9-bot Max G30 doesn't have a suspension at all. Here, we have a similar scooter, slightly smaller, but with only front suspension. So since you can buy a 9-bot Max G2 now for around 800 euros and 9-bot Max for around 600 euros, something like 700 euro price tag would be more than fair for this scooter. Anything over that, it's just going to be a little bit overpriced. Even that Xiaomi can actually go a little bit higher with the price, because since they're so popular, there's lots of supply for spare parts. I'm pretty sure when they come to the market pretty quickly, we'll be able to get spare parts almost everywhere. Where when it comes to 9-bot, that's still not the case. In lots of situations, we still need to order parts from China and wait for them to be delivered for like 2 months and this and that. So yeah, that's gonna be all for this episode, guys. I apologize if the quality wasn't the best. I'm actually still sick from last week. My nose is clogged, I have a sore throat and everything, but I just wanted to bring you this. I was actually supposed to record this last week, but I was away in Croatia, actually making video about my 9-bot that I bought there. So yeah, that's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I earned your subscription. If you want to support me, Amazon Amazon affiliate links in a video description down below, or you can maybe buy me a coffee. Yeah, that's all. Till next time, as usual, guys, please stay safe out there and respect other road users. Bye bye.